Hey everyone, it's time for video number 3. After losing my first 2 games yesterday in the Pro Chess League against the Marseille Migraines, I was starting to get a migraine. Anyway, in round 3 I played their board 4, who's a FIDE rated about 1950, although that was his published rating at the time of the team, I guess. Now, I just looked a couple hours ago and it seems like it's in the mid-2000s. Anyway, not quite as high as MVL and Baccarat, but everybody's dangerous. So I had the white pieces, and I'm, virtually required to win this game. I'm pared down, 400 points FIDE in a match. So if I can't win a game against their lowest rated player, we're probably not going to do well in the match. And the match was very competitive. It was unclear who was going to win the match until the last round ended, when we ended up victorious. Okay, my opponent's name is Remy Degraeve. Now, when I lived in Belgium, before most of you were born, there was a player called Jean-Marc Degraeve, who was an IM, who became a GM, and spells Degraeve the same way. I don't know if they're related or it's a total coincidence. Maybe somebody can tell me in the comments. Okay, anyway, this guy's name is Remy Degraeve, and I have the white pieces. And I did no prep. I didn't know what he would play on move 1, and he played the Grunfeld. Normally against the Grunfeld, I play a line that I don't want to say I made it up, but I'm basically the only player over 2,400 who plays it all the time. I saw Ivanchuk play it once. I've seen, I think, Hikaru play it once. But basically, it's not played very often. And that line is to play e3 and then queen b3. And I've been playing this most of the time against the Grunfeld for the last 25 years. And I probably have maybe 20 rated games in this position. Now, the most common moves for black are to defend the pawn, either with e6 or c6. But a lot of low-rated players will take on c4, and that's not terrible. Bishop takes, threatening the f7 pawn, and castles and knight f3. Now, my opponent wasn't familiar with this line, as you can tell by how much time he was taking. I was playing instantly, because I've played this before, and my opponent, I think, hadn't seen e3, queen b3, so huge amounts of time spent, which isn't good in a 15-minute game. Okay, Remy played knight c6. He wants to play the move knight a5. So I should move my queen or my bishop. I move my bishop. And another, like a 2.5-minute think here, which really isn't good in a 15-minute game. He played queen e8. And queen e8 is a very strange move, and it's never been played before. The idea is to play e5. Now his queen is protecting e5. I castled. He played e5. And if I want to get an advantage, I have to play d5. And the knight doesn't really have a good square. I'm guessing he should play knight a5, attacking my queen. Although the knight on a5 is a little strange. But he played the move knight e7. And actually, after e4, this is looking more like a king's Indian. In fact, if we put a white pawn on c4 and a black pawn on d6, this would be a king's Indian where, for some reason, whites played queen b3, and for some reason, blacks played queen e8. However, the pawn being gone from c4 and the pawn being gone from d6, these both favor white. White's always trying to play c5 and take this d-pawn to get the open c-file, and black likes this d-pawn because it defends c5 and e5. So this is very advantageous to white. The queen is misplaced on e8 because the c7 pawn, which is now in a half-open file, is now not defended. And, of course, if his queen was on d8, the queen would be defending the pawn, and he could play knight e8 and defend the pawn. Now, it's not so simple. He played knight d7, and I attacked the pawn immediately with knight b5. He defended it the only way you can defend it, queen d8. And I played bishop g5, pinning his knight. And now I'm trying to make his queen a bit overworked here, defending 2 things at once. f6 is not advisable, because number 1, it's f6, so never play f6. And number 2, d6 is check. And then you would be very unhappy because you're going to lose everything. Okay, so this position is not so easy. I think black should play knight f6. Although it's hard to play knight f6 since he just played knight d7. Okay, he made the losing move. You could argue he's losing here. Probably depends who you're talking to. Super GMs would probably say that white's strategically winning. But I'm guessing if the players are both under 1,600, it's sort of a coin toss here. But, okay, this is not a good position for black. Played a6, and now we can all agree that black's losing. The computer can agree. All players can agree. Because that doesn't really do anything about the overworked queen. So I took on c7, and if he takes with the queen, I'll take his knight on e7, and I'll be a pawn up with a good position. And just so you know, he's not winning my bishop with knight c5 with a double attack because I can just take the knight. Okay, so with the passed d pawn protected, an extra pawn should be winning. And the game went downhill very quickly for him. He didn't want to play this line, so he played for, some kind of tactics which didn't work. Played knight c5, which attacks my queen, and the idea is if he takes my knight now, he'll defend his knight, now that his knight has left d7. Well, he's attacking my queen, and he's attacking my knight, so I play queen b6. Now, I'm threatening d6, I'm threatening queen takes knight, I'm threatening knight takes rook, and I'm up a pawn. So this is already completely winning. I can't suggest anything for black here. Problem is, when I take the rook, my knight's defending my queen. So, yeah, the pin doesn't really work. He played the move I expected, knight a4, attacks my queen, saves his knight. Okay. Lots of queen moves are good. I couldn't decide between queen a5 and queen b4. Queen b4 is better, I think. Now I'm attacking even more. I'm attacking the knight twice with the queen and the bishop. d6 would be a good move, attacking the pin knight. Queen takes knight's a good move. Knight takes rook's a good move. Yeah, and he made a mistake here, although probably going from +3 for white to +6 isn't a big deal. Played f6 because bishop takes e7 was a serious threat, but it doesn't save his rook. And even though he takes my bishop, I take his knight. I'm a full rook ahead. Yeah, now if he wins my knight in the corner, I would be up the exchange and a pawn, plus this pawn's hanging, plus this is a passed pawn, plus this bishop's not good on g7. So even if he wins my knight, he's totally lost, but he's not going to win my knight. He played bishop d7, attacking my queen and attacking my knight. And luckily for me, I can just play queen b4, and if he takes my knight, I take his knight. And if he doesn't take my knight, I can play knight b6, or queen takes b7. And here he's down a rook and a pawn, and his b pawn's attacked, and his g pawn's attacked. He was also down about 10 minutes on the clock. I think he had 4 minutes, and I had something like 13. So here he resigned. So it did prove I could win a game in the Pro Chess League. It turns out that I win 1 game a week, so they really can't expect more from me. Okay, that was against Remy Degraeve, a player FIDE rated a little over 2,000. He didn't play the opening quite right, made a tactical mistake, and I had a relatively easy victory. Well, that was a lot easier for me than playing Bacro and MVL. So if you like that video, the previous videos, and the one video I'm going to make later today, 4 videos today, please consider a donation to my chess center, www.atlchessclub.com. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me at Facebook. Make sure you subscribe to the page here. Go to our website and check it out. And I'll see you guys later for video number 4. Bye, everyone.